Right, we're about to get into our first top 12 of the day. Waiting to go. Allan Warburton will be the first to come to the start line. Of course, we run the top 12 one car on the hill at a time. So Allan Warburton will be the centre of attention on the start line. Away. First 64 foot, 2.4 seconds. Already through Clark's. On the drop down into the S's, 9.89 on S approach. Rounding Chippies. Heading up towards Country Corner, 21 at 02 on Country approach. Over towards Willow. Now heading up towards Orchard, into the next time split, which is a 31.74. Now heading towards Farmhouse. The split here is on the exit of the corner. Allan Warburton round the corner, through the split in 43.71. Heading for the finish, and through the finish in a 51.84. So quite a bit slower than he was earlier. Next to the line will be number 8, Will Hall, in the Gould GR59J. Car's now lined up, so he'll be going through his start procedure. And away, slight hesitation on the start line. Off and running 2.26 for the launch through Clark's. Heading down towards the S's. 9.46, so he's up at the split on Allan Warburton. Heading round Chippies on the approach to Country Corner. Through Country Corner, 20.15, so again still ahead of Allan Warburton. Heading up towards Orchard. Through the split of Orchard, 30.15, 1.6 seconds up at that point. Through Farmhouse Bend. The splits on the exit, 41.5, so over 2 seconds up at that point. Will Hall over the finish already, 48.94, 400 slower than he was in qualifying. Eynon Price, the Welshman, ex-rally driver. Occasionally his rally driving experiences show through. Away from the start, heading towards Clark's, 2.13 for the launch, quickest so far. Charging down towards the S's, 9.38 on S approach, so he's ahead at that point. Round Chippies, heading up towards Country. Through the split of Country at 20.4, he's dropped behind Will Hall at that point. Now through Willow, heading up towards Orchard. Through the split of Orchard, 31.02. Half a second down on Will Hall into Farmhouse Bend. Remember the splits on the exit. Eynon out of the corner, 42.89. He's about halfway between Allan Warburton and Will Hall at that point. And over the finishing line, 51.12. So heading to the line, Lee Griffiths in the OMS 28. Qualified on a 50.82. This is the overboard Hayabusa, just like Eynon Price's, but with a little bit less CCs. And Lee Griffiths is away from the line, 2.23 for the launch. So quicker than Will Hall, down towards the S's, 9.4. So again, he's up on Will Hall at that point. Eynon Price the fastest so far to the S's. Heading up into Country Corner, 20.25, so slower than Will Hall. The power counting there on the exit of Chippies. Lee heading towards Orchard, 31 seconds dead at the split, so only just ahead of Eynon Price. Lee Griffiths into Farmhouse Bend, powers round Farmhouse, out of the corner, 43.12, so only just ahead of Allan Warburton, and a little bit of smoke from the exhaust as it goes round Quarry, over the finish, 51.25, slots in between Allan Warburton and Eynon Price. David qualified, I think I might have got Allan Warburton's qualifying time wrong. Let me just double check that. Yes, it was a 51.4. Qualifying for Allan Warburton. Anyway, David Warburton off and running. Through Clark's, 2.17 for the launch, so just fractionally slower than Eynon Price. 9.41 down into the S's, so fractionally slower than Lee Griffiths at that point. And David now charging up to Country Corner, 19.79, the quickest to country so far. Out of Willow, up towards Orchard, 30.08. Behind Eynon Price at that point, into Farmhouse Bend, neat and tidy through Farmhouse, 41.67, still behind Will Hall at that point, and over the finishing line in 49.48, slots into second behind Will Hall. So next to the line, Dave Uren in the Gould GR55B, qualified on a 49.46. Tom Yu keeping watching a brief on his one of his charges, and Dave Uren is away through first 64 2.3. Just slower than Allan Warburton, down towards the S's, it's 9.2, the fastest to the S's so far for Dave Uren. Out of Chippies, heading up towards Country Corner, 20.1, so second quickest to country behind David Warburton, but now the power cuts in as he charges up towards Orchard, 30.17, still behind David Warburton at that point. Through the farm buildings, round Farmhouse Bend, exiting Farmhouse. We haven't got the split at Farmhouse, unfortunately, and he's over the finish in 49.2. So Richard Spedding on the start line in the GWR Raptor 2, qualified on a 49.37, and he's off and running. Heading towards Clark's, 2.05 for the launch, the fastest so far. This will be quick down to the S's as well. 8.89, first sub 9 seconds we've seen to that point. Rounding Chippies, up towards Country Corner. I'm expecting a 19, it's a 19.43, quickest again. So Richard Spedding holds the lead. Now the power will be against him. Charging up towards Orchard. 29.8, he's still in the lead. Into Farmhouse Bend. This little GW Raptor is flying up the hill. Richard Spedding, 41.29 on the exit of Farmhouse, still in the lead. What can he do through Quarry? On three wheels over the finishing line. 49.01. Trevor about to set off, and he's away, heading towards Clark's, 2.1 for the launch, ahead of Eynon Price at that point, but behind Richard Spedding. 8.85, so the fastest down into the S's for Trevor. Out of Chippies, 19.43, so he equals Richard Spedding at country. Now charging up through Willow, heading towards Orchard. At the Orchard split, 29.95, so he's behind Richard Spedding at that point. Into Farmhouse, the exit of Farmhouse, 41.4, so ahead of Will Hall. What can he do at the finish? And it's a 48.63, so into the lead for Trevor Willis. To the line now, Matt Ryder in the Gould GR59J. Matt qualified on 48.80. He's away. 2.1 for the launch, so matches Trevor Willis. Down into the S's. 8.89, fractionally, in fact, exactly the same as Richard Spedding at that point. Out of Chippies, heading towards Country Corner, 19.34. At that split, that's the quickest so far. Heading towards Orchard, Splitter Orchard, 29.15. Up on the clock again. Into Farmhouse Bend. Out of Farmhouse Bend, 40.38. Quickest by far. Just Quarry to negotiate. 47.39. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new outright hill record. So on the start line, Alex Summers qualified in a 48.11. He's already off and running in the DJ Firestorm. 1.98 for the launch, our quickest so far. Charging down towards the S's, 8.73. He's up on the clock again. Alex Summers, man on a mission, rounds Chippies, heading up towards Country Corner, looking for the split there. 18.99, quickest by far. Out of Willow, en route to Orchard. Approaching Orchard, 29.01. Couple of, in fact, 1.14 up at Orchard. What's it going to be at Farmhouse? 40.16, so ahead of Matt Ryder. Just Quarry to go. Over the finish at Quarry, 47.62, goes into second place. So Scott on the start line. And away he goes. Scott Moran off and running. 2.07 for the launch. Already heading down into the S's. 8.76 at that point. Just fractionally behind Alex Summers. Round Chippies. Heading up towards Country Corner. 19.12. Over a tenth behind Alex at that point. Heading up towards Orchard, 28.84. That's the quickest so far to Orchard. Into Farmhouse Bend. Out of Farmhouse, 40.02. The quickest to that point. Just Quarry to go. He's through the finish. 47.05. A new outright hill record. So, sitting on the start line, fastest qualifier, Wallace Menzies, qualified on a 47.53. Time to beat, 47.05. Tom New watching on, holding his head, wondering if it's possible. Wallace about to launch, shuts the visor and away he goes. Away from the start line, 2.16 for the launch. Now on the power, down into the S's, 8.91 on S approach. Rounds Chippies. We're looking for an 18. The next split, it's a 19.06. Second quickest at that point. Now the power cuts in as he comes out of Willow, charging up towards Orchard. 28.8, the fastest to Orchard so far. Into Farmhouse Bend. And past the camera, charging up towards the top of the hill. 39.8 at Farmhouse exit, over the finish, 47 seconds exactly. Our third hill record in the runoff. And Wallace Menzies grabs back the outright hill record at Harewood on the last run of our first top 12. Can we get into the 46s? Only time will tell.